Hi all, Dr. Rossi Katz, Department Chair of Speech Language Hearing Sciences. For those who don't know me, if my colleagues could just do a quick shout out so everybody knows who everybody is. We have a good representation of the faculty and staff. Hi everyone.
And hi everyone. I'm sure Priya and Dr. You know me mostly. I see some faces. I don't know you. So I go by Dr. Santana Moshiba, whatever you want to call me. I teach child language disorders, physical language disorders, and language application here. Well, welcome back. And oh yeah, I'll not be around in the spring. You see, I'm pregnant and we're having a baby. Hopefully everything goes well, but that'll happen in the spring of 2022. So looking forward to getting you all out with flying colors this semester. Yeah. Back on Ilana.
I'm Shannon. I'm the admin, or the actually admin department coordinator now. And I just do all the in-between stuff that they don't do. So, I'm the social media pages, the website, all that kind of stuff, and I'm always happy to help you guys with.
Hey, hi, I'm Ilana Oliff. I'm the Director of Clinical Education. So just started here in August and I'm developing the master's program. And we'll be working on that, welcoming our first grad students in June. And so between now and June, it's just getting everything ready for them and also just getting to know all of you and the program here. También hablo español y siempre olvido a incluir esto, pero si alguien quiere hablar conmigo en español o platicar cualquier cosa, si tienes preguntas sobre ser un terapista bilingüe, siempre estoy aquí para hablar. ¿Ok?
Muy bien.
Where did you go?
Hi, I'm Dr. Marsha Walsh-Aziz. I'm doing the tech right now setup. Sorry for the delays. We're going to get it settled here in a second. I think most of you know me. I teach a little bit of early classes, a little bit of later classes, so depending on where you fall in there, I've either seen you very early on or very much later, working with stuff that way. So yeah, that's me, Dr. Marsha, Dr. Walsh-Aziz.
So we have a rough plan for this 15 minutes we're together. We're going to talk for a bit, 15 minutes or so, because most importantly, we want to feed you. And I'm sticking to that 1 o'clock schedule and do some brainstorming. So to start, I just want to show you this picture on the screen. Hopefully those of you online can see that. We're thinking of you even in the summer. So this was a retreat we did at my house for Melissa and Doug's Whiteboard. You can see us brainstorming about the year ahead. So know that how the SLHS department kind of functions is very much community involvement, and you are kind of the core of that community. So the purpose of today is really some information sharing, both from us as well as from you, and hopefully we'll create another fun whiteboard at some point like this to propel us to the year ahead. Can you switch to the next slide? Yep. And you met most of us. This was from the retreat that we did. Dr. Mcguire, for those of you who haven't had Dr. Mcguire or haven't heard this semester, she's still part of the SLHS team, doing a really important role for us as both an affiliate faculty as well as representing us on some really important university committees. So she has stepped down from her full-time position and again is representing us in other very important, necessary ways, including clinical phonetics, her first teaching love. And we could go to the next slide. So thank you for those of you who participated in the survey If you haven't participated, please still do. Time is we have not closed the survey. A lot of folks who have participated are with us for this year and then are transitioning on, especially those of you joining us who might have a year or two left. We also want to hear from you. Your input is very important. But some quick, just back of the napkin map that we did as of 40 minutes ago. For 24 complete survey respondents, again, as I said, most of you, about 2/3, will be moving on from the undergraduate program, and about 2/3 of you are applying to graduate school in speech language pathology. Some, one, audiology, grad school bound, and then others who are going to practice in the field as SLPAs. Email and Canvas are your preferred ways of communication, although please follow us still on social media. Shannon does a Herculean job of our social media account. And as social media is apt to do, it also helps increase visibility for us to people who might not be part of the university community. So we will still keep on keeping on with our Canvas announcements and our email announcements. But if you haven't joined us on social media, Shannon has all the handles, and we would greatly appreciate doing that. Awesome. Very happy to see that in terms of program satisfaction, the overwhelming response, doing some quick, 70% are mostly satisfied or extremely satisfied. And mostly satisfied should be better than that. I just can't remember the wording right now. So that's good to hear. Very good to hear. We also inquired about the hybrid class model, and again, pleasantly surprised that a large number of you were extremely satisfied with that model, or satisfied or above. Okay, it's a hard model to kind of launch, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But it seems like we're getting our sea legs with it, which is really encouraging. Y'all are balancing a lot, so give yourself some recognition for what else you are doing in addition to schoolwork. You can see some of our top responses there: caring for family members, aging adults, relatives, part or full-time work, and parenting. So kudos to you for doing it. And another thing that I hope we're able to kind of work with in the short time we have together is thinking about how all of those selves are coming to campus in ways in which we can support each other as a broader community. What services and resources would you like to hear more about? Graduate school, overwhelming reply to that. I'm so happy to share that, as well as research and service opportunities. Some of you indicated wanting to learn more about NSSLHA, and certainly you have NSSLHA representatives here. You raise your hand, NSSLHA rep. I thought it was a big deal. So connect with Audrey if you do want to hear more about NSSLHA. Would you mind going to the next slide? Thanks, you're doing well.
Is that the next slide, or did I get to
I
it?
think we skipped it.
There we go.
So just a few open-ended responses. So we asked, what do you like best about the program? What do you like least? What can faculty do to support? I like the staff. I do too. They're amazing. And huge, huge kudos to them, and professors are great as well. So thank you for those very lovely comments. This one is always going to be like this. What do you like best about the program? Flexibility with the hybrid model. What do you like least about the program? Hybrid model, right? It's always going to be what it is. And I will talk a little bit about that. It seems like the biggest kind of challenges as you responded to us were class schedule. I don't know of another department, SLHS department, that has as many variables as our student body. And so we try. We are not going to make every person happy all of the time, but we try and take things into consideration as we are scheduling. to be as flexible as possible, and I can talk more about that. This one, I just want to take a moment. Professors have different styles with teaching. Can you all just look at each other's sticky notes? So I gave you the prompt, just represent something about fall. So some of you drew, right? Some of you wrote words. Yeah, Lana, it would be great if you could check my card. What are you seeing? Are you seeing? So here's one. Lots of drawings. Are they all the same?
No.
Oh, they're not?
The same.
Okay.
Not a single one.
Not a single one is drawn the same?
And they also don't, none of the words.
Oh.
Everybody's kind of a little, we got some Halloween.
I think it was the orange.
Stuff
Kind
about
of was a little
the
weird.
weather. Driving through the mountains.
Inspired by pumpkin.
Yeah, the orange inspired the pumpkin. So, 2 pumpkins. Okay.
3 pumpkins.
Yep, we do have different teaching styles. Just like even given a prompt, put something about fall on the sticky. Some of you drew, some of you wrote, some of you maybe made origami. I don't know. In a lot of ways, that is the beauty of having different instructors and being at an institution that prioritizes teaching. There should be kind of very fundamental expectations in terms of accessing professors. That is the same. But we will have different styles with the hybrid model. And we see that as a positive thing. We also see it as an opportunity for, a lot of flexibility in terms of how you approach things, because the reality will be every client that walks in the door will be different. So if you have specific challenges that you're facing, I always welcome folks to reach out to me as a department chair. First thing I would do though is say, talk to your professor, right? That's the #1 thing you can do, is maintain open communication. But we are not looking for something to look like a Starbucks, where every time you walk into a class is exactly the same. We're looking for you to get as comprehensive a learning environment with as many experts as we can give you, right? So hopefully that analogy with the sticky notes rings as to why there certainly will be differences. What can we do to improve the program? Have more hybrid meetings. Fall Assembly is one. We'll have another monthly meeting in October, another one slated for, I think, December. We have monthly lunch and learns. So if you have not checked out our fall offerings, I invite you to do so. I will do this if you want to do the undergrad slide.
Yeah. Sorry.
You got it. It's gone.
So, there it is.
Yep.
Hold on. Pause. We're gonna switch camera angles here.
I'll do it.
Yeah, but I've gotta mute this one, so I don't wanna, because otherwise we'll have a bad feedback happen.
People up there, cool. Okay, now we're on that one. Can you press record for that one now? Or I don't know if that one, I guess, might keep recording actually. Okay, either way, can you move on to the next slide? Or I know it doesn't necessarily make prompts, but okay. All right, so there's some new things coming up with our undergraduate curriculum. Part of that is in Principles of Assessment Intervention. I think some of you guys are in that now. It's SLHS 3300. We have adjusted the curriculum to make sure that, especially if you're interested in doing SLP, you are going to get your 25 observation hours in that class. So that's a big step forward. That was something that had been asked for previously in previous iterations of that class. And so we were able to make that happen. What senior experience looks like now is very different. So if you are set to graduate, obviously in the future, you're all here for the most part. If you are a bachelor-seeking student, you do need to have a senior experience. You now have 2 choices. It used to only be 1 choice. You have 2 choices now where you can do SLPA, which is a 7-credit course that includes an internship, or you can do the generic SLHS 4300. There are some kind of standards with that a little bit, or at least in previous semesters there have been, including Dr. Santana's Isaac group. But that can also be a what you need for your senior experience. So that is definitely going to need to happen with consultation with one of the faculty. So kind of keep that in mind, that you will need to come and have a conversation with faculty on what that senior experience might look like. Other big thing happening next spring is we're starting a new course, the SLHS 4530, which is the neural bases of communication. And that is going to be a part of term, so it starts halfway through the semester in the spring. It will be asynchronous, and it will give you, it's a lot more graduate programs are looking for this kind of content to be completed during undergrad, and so we've just dedicated an entire course to it. So kind of keep that in mind as well. And again, I did recommend that you check out and talk with faculty on if that suits you or works into your schedule. So that is an elective course. The other two, if you're bachelor seeking, would be required.
Did you remind them of the SLPA deadline?
I will do that right now. So SLPA deadline is coming up. If you're interested in being in our spring 2022 cohort, you would need to apply for the SLPA by October 1st, is the first Friday of October. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me or to Shannon. If you have any questions on how that program works, what you need to apply, I would definitely recommend, if you haven't talked to anyone about it, please talk in advance as much as possible, because there may be things that you don't realize about the program or that you should have done earlier or something like that. If you're thinking about doing SLPA, it's always good to talk in advance as well, just to make sure you're on the right path, because it is an application process.
All right, let's talk grad school. Yay! So we are, as I said, working on our grad program. We're planning to open June of 2022. So the application is live on CIDCAS, which is the central application system. And if you have questions about how to access that, there's an FAQs link on our website on the graduate side, and then in admissions. So it'll link you directly to CIDCAS. It's got a little more information about what is required in the application, but you can always go ahead and create your CIDCAS account and then go and look at the program there to get like all of the information. You don't have to apply. You can look at the program, you can add it to your program and kind of work on the application as you go. Application deadline is January 15th, and your application needs to be complete and verified by that date. So what that means is everything needs to be in a little bit before January 15th, so that the folks at CIDCAS can look at your transcripts and make sure everything's complete, and then they actually verify the application, and then it comes to us. So January 15th is the deadline, but you want to kind of plan a little bit ahead of that to make sure that you've got everything in on time. So if you have questions about that application, if you want to talk about grad school in general, if you want to find out, what you should include in your resume, anything like that, any grad school questions, I am more than happy to talk to you about that. I'm doing some open office hours, so the second, third, and fourth Tuesday of each month. So whenever we don't have other SLHS programming during that time. And there's a little shortened link there, but if you need help finding that office hour, let me know. Right now I'm just doing them on Teams, but we could also do them hybrid in here if that's something that is interesting to people. I'd be more than happy to sit in here in person with you and talk. But the idea with those is that the questions that you probably have, other people probably have. So it's just an open time for us to kind of chat about things, you to ask questions. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be about grad school. I'm also happy to talk about what it's like to be an SLP, different settings you can work in, all of those things. So please join me for those. And then our program, as I said, is starting June 2022, and we'll be having an on-campus clinic, and that will open in the spring of 2023. So a lot of the first experiences that our grad students get will be here on campus with real clients in the clinic. We are offering an optional bilingual specialization for the program, and that will start the first year. The actual curriculum and things like that are not until a little bit later, but my hope is that we'll have some bilingual clients who can come in, so you can pretty quickly start seeing clients and working on those bilingual delivery skills. We also I'm looking for SLPs specifically to be field supervisors, so supervising those externships. Come on in. Clinical supervisors working here, and we're also forming an external advisory board. So if you all have ideas of people, really fabulous SLPs that you've worked with, or community members, anything like that, if you think of anyone, feel free to just let me know, and I'll take it from there. So you can just give me people's contact information, whatever, and we'll go from there. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about the goals of our graduate program. So obviously it's to prepare our graduates to be ready to work once they graduate and once they finish their SLP program. But a big piece of it too is increasing diversity in the SLP field. It's something that's really, really lacking in this field. And I think Metro is perfectly positioned to start to train some students who are not necessarily what people think of as the standard SLP. And we want to break that standard. We want to get out of that idea. And we really want people who are interested in this field to feel like they have a place to come where they can learn the skills that they need and be prepared to treat clients in Denver and the surrounding areas. And while our field is not really diverse, the people that we serve are very diverse. And so we are really focusing on building a program that not only helps you understand where your clients are coming from, but really be responsive to the cultural differences and the things that you're confronted with on a daily basis as an SLP. Part of that too, and part of our program goal, is to really start to change the model of grad school education and get away from what is often considered, kind of these white supremacist norms that have just permeated to our entire society. And how do we break away from that? And how do we really build a program that makes everyone feel like they're welcome, a program that's truly inclusive, and a program that builds your cultural responsiveness so that when you go out into the field, you know how to interact with all kinds of different people. And a huge piece of that is working on collaboration. So SLP programs in general are very competitive, and there's a lot of competition to get into grad schools, but then once you get in, there's a lot of competition within the cohort or within the people who are in the program. And that's something that we really want to try to push back on and kind of dismantle. And so a big, big focus of our program is going to be collaboration and how to work with each other, because that's what you do in the real world. Oftentimes you're the only SLP in a setting, but you have to work on a team and you have to work with other people. And there's so much you can learn from your peers. And so when you're considering our grad program, really think about the fact that you will be part of a cohort and you will be part of a community. And we are going to actively work to build community and work on collaboration and kind of move away from that idea of competing with your peers, but rather supporting your peers to be successful in the program. Again, come to my office hours if you have questions.
Not very good chat. So I am going to do kind of a brief send-off for y'all, because some of you have heard me say this, and I am so behind everything that this graduate program is about to do. And I am so appreciative to have a community in which our goals are embraced. I want to recognize, though, that things are changing and things will never be the same after this year. given that for as long as I've ever been here, which is 16 years now, we've been an undergraduate institution with a modified open enrollment policy. And the graduate program, in its power and its might, there are things that will look different in the graduate program. I don't want to forget where we have been though, and I want to take time to honor and just recognize the power of our undergraduate program. And truly that starts with you all and working with us on bridging a community. Some of you have heard me say, I am so excited about what's ahead, and I also mourn for what's we're leaving behind because we can't go back. So I want to be really purposeful, and I don't want to get, too in the weeds with this, but I want to invite everybody to think about what it means to be here now, because this is where you are. You're here now. You are, some of you, many of you, as the survey results show, are working to get into graduate school, and that is a means to an end. It's not an end. What does it look like for you here now to come together in community to prepare you for whatever is ahead? For some, that might be joining our graduate cohort. For some, it might not. For some, who knows what it holds, right? It's a mystery box. But I do think it's important to recognize kind of how things are changing, and in that invite you to work together and work with us to figure out what it looks like next. Because I don't know what is coming. I think it's something really special, but I also want to recognize where we are now and not just look to that. Does that make sense? So that's my invitation to you all. That's our invitation to you all. And it's heavy